see this beautiful place I get to work. Okay, so I am, I'm just going to say debuting my whole video life. Something I've been thinking about doing for a long time and have had many walls to climb over to be able to feel ready, I guess, for this day. And even though I don't feel all the way ready, at some point it's like, I just have to jump. You just jump, just do it, right? And I guess so much of my internal conditioning tells me that I'm not going fast enough and that I'm wrong and I need to do, stuff differently. And I just realized today as I was doing laundry that it's been a journey, and I'm still on the journey for sure, for me to be able to let myself settle into my feminine presence in a way that I did not for the first half of my life. Hopefully, maybe third of my life, even say. But there's so much in me. There's so much that I have learned. There's so much that, man, I've experienced. I've experienced so much stuff since I have moved to Northern California. Oh my goodness. Amazingness. And hardship too. I mean, really, like, the highs have gotten high, but the lows have gotten really low too. So, I don't know, it's hard for me, even though I've always been pretty outspoken. And I mean, the more I learn about astrology and realize, like, that I can just really sink into who I am as a person more and more. And I've always been one to do that anyways, but it's deeper and deeper and deeper all the time. And I have a very active mind. Oh, to say the least. It's almost like, geesh, already. And I have just like latched on to learning about so many things. I feel like being raised in the religion that I was, that I really felt very sheltered, and stifled too comes to mind. But so many things, and I could go squirrel, but I'm not going to. So I've been on this journey through some very, very difficult things that have happened in my life, some hardships that have taken me to my fucking knees, literally. And to have to come back, inside myself. I mean, we come back for other people too, of course, but the real person you have to come back for is you, right? Straight up, you. And part of me doing that is sharing my experience and helping people. I used to think, like, I don't know what I would do, I was so wrapped up in the patriarchy and how things should be, and just so many layers. I mean, it's crazy, the layers that I have looked at in the past 5 years. Crazy. And I love it. It feeds me so deeply. But it has to be for you, because really, as a soul, and for the collective, yes, for both, for you and your soul, if you believe in that, which I do strongly, and I don't say that lightly. We all are, oh wow, so much. So much more than we could ever possibly even imagine. And that is the truth. And so much of what we feel, or I have felt, was real, and I think a lot of us feel is real, is the material and everything that I can see here, you know? And that's very much a part of our world as human beings, straight up. And there's this whole other universe around us right here and to infinity that is just like mind-blowing when you start thinking about it or experiencing it in a way that you can when you start listening to your deep inner self, to your deeper inner stirrings and the things that excite you and the things that feed you, you know, things that make you happy, things that bring you joy, things you're interested in. I mean, it's crazy that I used to think like, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't in like structured society. And now I'm like, what? There's so much. It's like, it's been hard for me to like even get on and do a freaking video because it's so much, you know, there's like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And I used to think that I had to do all that myself because that's how I thought things had to be done, you know. It was like running around like a Tasmanian devil. And reminds me of my sister because I've said that about her. Sometimes when I watch her, I'm just like, sheesh, look at her go. Must be a Scott thing. Just saying. Anywho, I digress. But yeah, now I know that I can teach people how to get to that and themselves, their own selves, and that I don't have to do it all. I can show other people, you know, or let other people do things that they're interested in. I'm moving my iPad out of the way because it's getting hot. It rained this morning, which I was kind of like, I wasn't so sure the forecasters were going to be right, but because it was like 100 this weekend in Sonoma County, it's like, what? Which I love. I do, because I'm away from the coast now, and man, it's so beautiful. And I've moved to warmer parts, which I'm really happy about. And I don't know if you can see down there, but there's a creek just right down there. There's still water in it too. It's so nice. But I'm seriously, it's like, whoa. There's owls, which anybody who knows me for any period of time probably knows that I love owls, birds, period. But the connection to nature here is amazing. As I'm saying, I don't know if you can hear the squirrel in the background, which a lot of people really have a distaste for squirrels, but I'm like, I love them. One came right up here, like literally right here. Last night I was sitting here, and he was a big one. Some of these squirrels around here are fed well. There's black walnut trees up here, and man, it's amazing to watch them. I love to watch things in, you know, their finite detail out in nature, like I did when I was out west, you know, that I got to see the sheep, which that's a whole story for another time. But here it's like the squirrels, you know, they're everywhere. And some people have a real big distaste for squirrels, and I guess they can eat, you know, they do eat stuff. But where I am here, I guess it's okay because they're not destructive, and it's kind of cool. And they help with the trees, and I love them. It's so much fun. But I love the connection to nature. Actually, where I walk and have been walking and will do videos, they found a mountain lion up there this morning, so they closed the trail down. So, which is good. But there was, I think, last week there was like cubs, a smaller one seen. So maybe mama's got babies. So, but it's, you know, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about those things. And I will say that I went up there to kind of scout some, you know, place. It was a new trail, and here recently, and I didn't want to go by myself, which I still have that. I spend so much time in nature, but I still have that fear of, I don't know. I mean, I know what to do, and I remind myself too, so I don't forget, like, what to do if I saw a mountain lion or something. But and I feel very connected to cats, but yeah, I mean, there's you definitely would have to take, or want to take precautions and be safe. I don't know. And the other part of me just says if I had an interaction with them, first of all, I think it'd be really cool and scary for sure. Straight up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a lot of things, and stuff is going to shift for me in ways. And for right now, it's just about me taking a step and doing what I love so much and sharing it with you. Okay? So, I love oracle cards. And, man, they just speak so deeply to my soul. And they have helped me so much. Oh my goodness. And I love to do readings. I love to do readings for people. I love to do readings for myself. I love the touch point of spirit that you get from oracle cards. So I figured I would just pull a card to read on my first video. And the card that I pulled is Faith in the Process. And I love that she has a bird on her back and that she's naked with her hair coming down her back, but still exposing her rawness and her fragility, I want to say, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Come to me word. It'll come to me. And that she's in a wagon, a red wagon, and she's in prayer pose. Vulnerable is the word I was looking for. To me, she looks very vulnerable. So, I'm a numbers girl too, so this card number is 32, which is a 5 in numerology, which is about change, and all kinds of other stuff too, but I think with numbers, with all the things I've learned about numbers, because I've always been a numbers girl, I've always loved numbers, and still do, more and more actually, and I think the thing with numbers is, it's getting windy, and I hope you can hear me. I guess I'm going to talk up. I think the best thing for us to do is when numbers are repetitive or show up in our lives on a regular basis, we want to take note, and maybe stop for a second and say, hey, Spirit, what are you trying to say to me? I love that winds are coming through right now too, because talk about change, winds can really change things, and when I lived in Reno, I hated the wind. It just drove me freaking crazy. And then when I moved to Sonoma County and moved out west by the ocean, it was windy. And then you got fog and, I was only, I don't know, like 2 miles maybe as the crow flies from the ocean. So I was close. Fog and stuff most days, So I became friends with wind. And so much was going on in my life at that time too that I needed those winds of change to be going through my life, flowing through my life, like, going in and transforming my life. So, I like the wind mostly now. Mostly. On most days. Okay, so I wanted to read the passage for this card, Faith in the Process. This is Sacred Rebels by Elena Fairchild. And she's a really powerful author. I mean, I really, really like her stuff. So if you're interested in getting into oracle cards or have questions about like, hey, I'm interested, but I don't know how to pick one or whatever, hit me up because I can give you some pointers. Okay, I'm going to record this, but the wind is being blowing through some change up in here. So I'm going to read this, but I may have to re-record. I'm not sure. Or just cut it off. Maybe what I had was enough. Who knows? Faith in the process. No matter how powerful we are, how much courage and strength we have, there are times when we can't move ourselves along to the next phase of life or our creative exploration. At such times, we need some divine intervention, a little help in pulling our trolley along, so to speak. When we are at the edge of our own limits and have no more personal resources, we might be left with only one spiritual power, that of faith. Fortunately, that is enough. As unlikely as it may seem, the invisible help from the universe is often more powerful than the physical efforts of 1,000 men. Yes, 1,000 men. That is because the invisible help is not limited by physical laws. It can shift, bend, and move in ways that defy limitations. I like that, defying limitations. It can affect, evoke, and influence situations through invisible, but undeniably persuasive means. You, maybe, or are in a situation where you cannot set right the course of events all by yourself. This is not an indication that you have done something wrong, nor does this suggest that you are not strong enough. Sorry, I scrolled there for a second. It is a sign that there is something bigger unfolding in your life, and your willpower will be supplemented by the power of life, capital L, life. It's not in the book, but for me, every time I see that, that's what I say. So, in your life will be, I'm going to read that over. It's a sign that there's something bigger unfolding in your life, and your willpower will be supplemented by the power of life, capital L, itself. Sometimes the bigger plan needs to manifest for the benefit of humanity and the earth. You need to shift your perspective to realize that you were part of the greater unfoldment of life, that your individual life serves the greater plan, and that you are not separate from its genius. No, my friend, you are not separate from its genius. Not even close. Not even on your worst day. And that's been a hard one for me, but I do know this to be true. This is what is happening now. You happen to be instrumental to the greater plan, and as such, you need to accept your position and be moved while also being empowered and protected as you make personal progress through your role in the grander scheme. This is a time for humility and trust. You need complete faith in the process and events that are happening. There is nothing to worry about. You will be moved most fully and easily, and with the most grace and assistance through your faithful surrender. That's a hard one for lots of us, that surrender word. Myself included, still. Even though I've worked on it a lot. A shit ton, actually. Oh my goodness, that surrender thing. Sometimes I'm like, what does that mean already? I forget. How does that surrender thing go again? It's a work in progress, for sure. Ironically, it is through complete surrender and total faith that we become the most empowered. When we are no longer trying to impede when we are no longer trying to impede the perfection of the greater plan, we can be aligned with and moved by the process. Have faith in the benevolence of life, rather than harboring the suspicion that life is seeking to catch us out, have a joke at our expense, or carelessly toss us about as though we mean nothing. Then we can relax a little. Having faith in the process gives you space to be curious about what is taking place and to relax enough to be open to what we are most in need of, even if we aren't exactly sure what that is or how it can happen. The guidance from this oracle comes direct from the greater source of life. There is now an opportunity for you to be moved from the situation you are currently in to the next chapter or story in your life. You can't do it on your own. It's too big a shift. It needs the grace of life to intervene on your behalf. You will need faith, though. You may feel as the wheels of your trolley are coming off and that they are a bit rickety, but you must also understand that the voice of life is now coming straight to your heart with this message. I have resources you know not of. It is safe to trust in my ways and in my wisdom. Think about all of the wisdom that life has, that's been here forever, that the trees have, that Mother Nature has. I mean, it goes on and on and on when you think about it. I mean, seriously, we are so supported here. It's nuts, and we don't realize it. Sorry, I digress. I have resources you know not of. It is safe to trust in my ways and in my wisdom. For I love you, and I am guiding you into all that is rightfully yours. Not that you have to work blood, sweat, and tears for. Not that you do have to release, and you do have to forgive and make shifts in your life. And those shifts may be hard because you may have to let things and people go that you never in 4 million years would think that you would have to. Know that what is rightfully yours is what your heart truly desires, and you need not fear loss. Nothing that is meant to come to you will be denied, and it is safe for you to let go and allow me to move you. Through faith, peace is restored, and you are able to know this, and perhaps have some fun in the process. That's another thing I struggle with. I'm so dang serious. As I'm getting older, I am getting better. I mean, I've always been able to have fun, but I had to be pretty comfortable with who I was around to have fun. So I had all kinds of barriers around fun. I still do, actually, and I'm working on it. Have been working on it. I just want to point out my necklace, too, that one of my girlfriends I don't know if you can see it. I can't really see it. It's pretty bright out here. But one of my girlfriends, Lisa, in Tucson, gave this to me before I moved from there, and I've been wearing it lately. It was her birthday. Was it last week or the week before? I forget. But I'm liking it. I'm digging it. So thank you, Lisa. Okay, so now if you are in a space where you can just kind of sit back and relax for maybe 3 minutes or something, 2 minutes, and just kind of sink in, take a couple like slow, deep breaths. A lot of us don't even know how to do that. So the teacher I had taught me to act like I was filling the bottom of my stomach like a pitcher with air, like pouring water into it, which helped me like to bring it way down deep. If we can breathe, the further down our bellies we can breathe, the better. It helps all kinds of stuff in our bodies. So, say aloud, I now ask that all disappointing experiences of the past, say it aloud too, I'm watching you. I now ask that all disappointing experiences of the past that have led me to believe that life is not trustworthy, or that faith is a silly or immature way to deal with life, be released from my mind, and visualize it being released from your mind. Body, same thing. Like, do a little scan of your body and release that. Like, really notice that stuff being released. So easy. Energy, we're energy. And heart. I ask for help to accept that I can and will. I'm going to say that again just because I feel like I went too fast. I ask for help to accept that I can and will attract all that is needed into my life at the perfect time and in the perfect way.